We are live. This is the market update. I am back. I am your host, Bill Noble. Is there any gold left in Fort Knox? Have people gotten way too bearish? Understandably, given the price action where they just brutally washed people out. Solana in particular is unbelievable. And I'm looking at this going, okay, so we just washed all the excess out of the meme sector. Like everyone heaved, everyone puked. Now what is there to do? You know, the president speaking on March 4th, State of the Union address, NVIDIA earnings are coming out soon. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the case is to be negative on crypto at this point, especially since part of the reason for the down move was this just meme coin insanity, right? I mean, you had the thing with the guy in Argentina, which was preceded by the thing with Trump. So Trump and that meme coin sold over the top of everybody, and that was the euphoric high, right? Not the beginning of something. It was the euphoric high. And now in retrospect, everyone's like, yeah, that was the high. And yeah, we should have been short XRP at $3, blah, blah, blah. Then what happens is, like I said, you have this guy from Argentina do this thing with meme coins. And then there were like various stunts that, I'm not even going to mention. Like, these guys were trying to make rug pulls great again. That's what they were doing. And that seems, that seems crazy. And then, the market just takes care of it, unfortunately, for everyone's bags. But the market's just like, you know what? This whole thing just needs to go down. I've lost confidence in the whole thing. Solana goes to kind of an absurdly low level. We'll go over those charts. But basically, we just experienced like a mini crash and winter in anything related to AI and anything related to memes, only to see, I think, rise from the ashes between now and Easter. So we'll check to see what's going on here. I have a very hard time getting negative. All right, so Diogo is here. Robbie, thank you. Welcome back. Taz Pinball, CL, Yav, welcome. Huber's Ranch, the OGs. LA13, Alexandra from Europe, welcome. Devin B, what's going on? Banks 911, the gold chart. Yes, we will go over that. Okay, so for the latest and greatest from our friends in Washington, who I continue to believe are hogging up the news flow. Everybody wants to know where the gold is in Fort Knox. Okay, so that's really interesting because if that gold is not there, you have a crisis. I mean, it's that simple. You have a crisis in, gold deliveries in the private sector. People will freak out. You have a problem with banks, which, there's someone in the middle between people who have paper receipts for gold, right? And the people who want that gold, you know what I'm saying? Like banks are in between. So if someone asks for physical gold and someone can't deliver it, the banks are in the middle. Not to mention what that would mean for the dollar and for treasuries. It's like, yeah, hi, Fort Knox is empty. So I'm not sure that this kind of a stunt means anything, to be honest with you. Because I think if they go in there and there's no gold, they're buying themselves a major problem. And, I don't know that Fort Knox, it may be considered a military installation, or the military is definitely there guarding it. So I think it would be pretty easy for the president of the United States to pick up the phone and be like, hey, guys, is the gold there? They should really, get that straight before they pop the hood and go in there. Because if it's empty, you have a crisis. Okay, so this is not necessarily I don't know. To me, this is all over the news. It's all over the news. But I think it's a negotiating stunt to get into the Fed, to get into the Treasury, right? Like what's on the Fed's books? Like what does the plunge protection team own? What's on the Fed's balance sheet that we don't know about? So if they're going to grandstand, they're going to go into Fort Knox. I hope they find something, right? Because if they don't, President of the United States is going to be explaining this to the American people on March 4th. Now, while this makes a good headline and while this is very catchy, the real issue, I think, is about the dollar and about Bitcoin as a form of money. Because what just happened in crypto is, you had some guy in Argentina do something that was epically stupid. Then you had a bunch of other people make rug pulls great again. Everyone's bags get wrecked, right? The administration waited way too long to say something about crypto on one hand, and then, they actually waited for a bottom on the other hand. But the crypto market isn't getting anything that it wanted, and now everyone's bearish. And we're worried about this. When I don't think this is the thing to be worried about. I just think if this is even in question, we need a different form of money. And God knows people in Europe do. I mean, whatever's going on in the UK and Germany, Germany's got an election coming up. But when you see what they're putting out there, it's like, yeah, we like thought crime. Yeah, we like social media. I can't believe they think they're going to win an election with this. But then again, they did the same thing in the US. So this is a headline. I don't think it's the right headline, to be honest. Okay. It's a really interesting chart from a smart guy that I know, Trader XO, looking to get long Solana. I'll go over my charts. I have absolutely no idea what the case is to be negative on Solana after you just did this huge meme and AI agent purge. No idea. Right. This to me just looks like a give up trade in Solana. We'll go over the charts. Now, meanwhile, back at the Orange Man's ranch, Trump says he's committed to making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. And of course, all this really did was stop the avalanche lower because they have to deliver something. The jawboning isn't good enough anymore. However, they're probably going to announce something about transaction taxes because that's easy. They could announce some kind of investment in the Web3 space. I think that's even easier. God, they gave all this money to Sam Altman, for God's sakes, before DeepSeek came out. So I continue to believe that these guys are going to do what they say they're going to do. They're just not doing it fast enough, right? They're just not. And the crypto market had these expectations that they were going to come out with some kind of an announcement. First people wanted their bags mooned on day one. And I was like, give them some time. And interestingly, they waited for the whole market to wash itself out before they came back in. Which again is really interesting, right? They've done this before. They get everyone leaning one way. They did it on the election and then boom. So even though I'm sure you're annoyed and I'm a little annoyed, but, hopefully these guys have got an announcement. And hopefully they got an announcement when everyone is bearish and out, because I can't believe after watching the price action of the last 48 hours that people are just not out of their mind with despair. Okay, Ripple's Garlinghouse touts Trump effect amidst bump in U.S. deals. Okay. This guy has an organization. He's got 1,000 people, and I'm sure the Orange Man wants it to go to 5,000 people. And they better get busy on this because there's a lot of people out there that are saying, XRP at $3, that was it. It's over, right? It's over. And that the XRP army is just got overexcited for no reason. So, Garlinghouse has to come through and Trump has to come through with something, right? That's just it. Now, continuing on this whole thing where, the thing that really helps crypto is that they just want to get rid of the IRS. I don't know how anybody tracks capital gains without the IRS, but I think this IRS thing really helps crypto. I mean, they're just doing mob justice on these government agencies. I mean, they're just like, see ya, right? I mean, I don't know what the unemployment office in Washington, D.C. and Virginia is going to look like with what they're doing. I mean, it feels like, it feels like they're doing 5,000 people a week or 10,000 people, 15,000 people a month, right? So this is like, this is unbelievable. And I think if there's anything super crypto favorable, it's just that we're tired of this, right? I mean, yeah, there's a mob justice aspect because there's, obviously this is going to be a popular decision, but, okay. So, there's Fed information out, Fed minutes from the meetings. I don't think, just reiterating, I don't think this matters anymore. Like, they're not doing cuts. They're not hiking rates. Food inflation is still out of hand. We gotta have chickens, lay eggs again. Whatever supply shock came through is here. So I said I wasn't going to mention that, and I don't think what the Fed does matters. Not for crypto. I mean, unless there's like, the only way you start talking about the Fed again is if there's no gold inside Fort Knox, or they have to open up the books of the Fed. Their interest rate decisions at this point don't really matter. They don't. I think what the government spends or doesn't spend matters. Like, for example, I think if they give everybody $5,000, as a tax refund kind of thing, that's inflationary. Now, a lot of that probably winds up in the crypto market, but that's potentially inflationary. But then again, when you look at the number of people who are behind on credit cards, it probably could be like a debt relief fund, right? To get people at least somewhat caught up on that stuff. Okay, so, Trump's first 30 days bring remarkable change for crypto. Yeah, okay. So that's actually not true. Okay. I mean, these are all the talking heads for all these government agencies, and they're all pro crypto, but crypto requires a regular flow of money in order to sustain itself. And if you don't get the regular flow of money, or if people FOMO'd in, at the top, or they bought the dip and it kept dipping. Now, could this thing be completely washed out? Yeah. Could people be short? Yeah. Can you squeeze those people out? Yeah. Right. I mean, if anything, the inaction that they did and getting all the expectations lower will help them if they do something. If they do something. And I just got to think they got to do it with Bitcoin first. I mean, they got to go back to basics. I think Bitcoin, where it was the other day, like 93, and everyone was selling, I was like, dude, you are puking this stuff directly to BlackRock. And it's interesting that ETH never moved. As everybody gave up on Solana, right? And ETH was like strong. So yeah, they got to deliver, and a bunch of talking heads are great, but the talking heads have to do something. And it kind of sucks that, like, the only action in the government is Elon going crazy. That's because Elon has to do what he has to do and get back to the private sector. But the actual government officials are acting like government officials, and they're not doing anything yet. Okay. So, again, we know this, that the guy from Ripple is saying that, he's got a lot of job openings in the United States. That's great, but they got to start taking over projects. They got to either take over projects, make alliance with projects. They had an Ondo announcement, which no one cared about. And they got to get banks on board, right? Like the orange man needs to call the banks and say, start doing business with Ripple, right? Now, the good news is XRP really didn't, I don't know. I mean, XRP went down, but it wasn't like, some of these altcoins that got completely vaporized, So XRP Wolf lets you know that Donald Trump posted twice. That's where these articles came from, that, this is the orange man signaling that, he wants made in America crypto. Right. But, he needs something where they do a transaction task where they name a bunch of cryptos that are American made and just say, hey, no transaction tax on these cryptos. That's it. right? And we'll continue to look at the list. I mean, that would be the logical thing to do, because again, no one's going to use this as money, if you have to pay capital gains constantly. I don't know what they did in El Salvador, but nobody was interested in using Bitcoin as a transactional currency in El Salvador. So they got to do something on the tax front to get everything going. So it's nice that they posted. And in a way, it's good that they waited until the market was like decimated and everybody was out before they announce, before they hint, before they come out with something, because that was the pattern before the election, right? There'd be a tweet, Eric Trump would post his position, and then they would get announcements going after that. Okay, they need to get it going, right? Because you saw what happened when they don't, right? You saw what happened when they don't. Okay, SEC acknowledges filing to allow staking for the spot Ethereum ETF. Okay, so this is actually now kind of more important, right? We need a bullish catalyst for Ethereum. We're waiting for a bank to come in and do something with DeFi, right? And that may come, right? It just takes a BlackRock announcement, right, and a splash to get everyone else moving. Because right now, when the market's going down, they don't have to do anything. But I frankly fully expect them to be able to crank up Bitcoin. Like, either Bitcoin is a stable coin now, or, if they can't get it cranked up, say sort of like, let's just say in March, they can't get it queued up and moving then. I don't know. Maybe we just sit here. But bullish catalysts are out there. They're out there for ETH. They're out there for Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's back. We'll go over that. All right. So time it took to reach 1 trillion valuation. So it took NVIDIA 30 years. It took Tesla 18 years, right? And Eagle King notes it took Bitcoin 12 years. Way to have the Eagle King come in, straighten everybody out. Bitcoin is a different form of money, and everyone forgets that when the market goes down. It's a form of money that government can't print. You're like, yeah, I know that. Well, not based on what people were just like, people were just like throwing stuff away. Now, if your accountant was like, hey, throw this away, okay. And then you save some capital and you move in a different direction. But I think everybody has forgotten about this. Solana flipped the market cap of MicroStrategy, right? It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure that's because MicroStrategy went down. I'm not sure how this happened, given that Solana was crashing, but that's cool, right? Solana is going to have a phone coming out in March, and everyone's talking about meme coins, right? It's like, I liked a couple of these coins. I liked Melania. I liked the future. And then you find out that, everybody involved is just, rugging people. And then that became like, okay. The crypto market, it's like the big exchanges dumped the big memes on everyone's head at Christmas. And then, rug pulls were accepted. Rug pulls are not accepted. And every time they do these big rug pulls, the market's going to fall. The bottom will fall out of the market. Then they'll stop doing the rug pulls. Right. And I hate to say it, but it was that simple. It's like, look, if you guys want to undermine confidence in the market goes down. Period. Like, everybody gets wrecked when they do this. And it became, like you're watching the news. It's like, oh, yeah, this guy did it. He's like, even announced it. It's like, here's my meme coin and I'm going to rug it. I'm like, wow, really? Okay, well, I guess, the market will go down until we stop doing that. Okay, so, I had the privilege of interviewing John McAfee's widow. So we're having a problem with crypto influencers these days. There's just not that many of them. There's not somebody leading a space like BitBoy. That's a total mess. And I'm involved with a project called Antivirus where they have privacy functionality up and running. I actually did it myself. The head of the project showed me personally, right? I bought a SIM card that worked for the United States, right? It's data. So if you're doing Telegram or anything else, you can do it and no one sees you. No one sees you. And then, if I bought a gift card, you can use a Visa gift card and use it anonymously. And they're adding all this functionality to this little privacy coin. And, I was on this stream yesterday, with all these big players, right? Like there's Silent Swap, there's Secret Network, and there's all these guys that, they have real investing dollars behind it. There are other guys like Mind Your Biz, guys I know, Altcoin Daily and Wendy O are promoting Silent Swap. But this is one thing I want to add about that, right? Is that, you got corporate dollars and big money behind these projects, right? But how much attention are they getting on the privacy narrative? This is a question. I mean, they were at Consensus. They got a lot of stuff out there. But I mean, how much attention are they getting? Now, this project, which I don't mind saying, I mean, I went to speak to the head of the project. We hung out for like 6 hours. So whatever FUD there is about these projects, you need to rethink that because none of it's true. Right. And, one of the short videos from Janice and me got retweeted on the main McAfee account. This is a bunch of guys who put their own money in. They put their own money, like a lot of money in to develop this. They told me what the dev budget was. So this thing yesterday, right? Somebody puked this thing here at like 6,000 market cap, like a whale heave this at like 5,000 market cap. I see 5 million market cap, which was the high of the version of the first token. And now it's like doing better because the whole AI agent, Solana, it just got wiped out. And now it's like, okay, well, what's real in the space? They got privacy functionality and they got an AI agent. I asked I didn't read it to Janice because I didn't want her to cry, but, I read like kind of a love letter from the John McAfee AI agent to Janice. And again, John McAfee, if you don't know who that is, he's basically a famous, notorious figure from crypto in 2018 who was warning you about, the intelligence agencies, the IRS, and all these characters that are getting fired as we speak. Everything he ever said came true. And this little project, for what it's worth, is building everything that he wanted in his space at a grassroots level. So, corporate money doing it is great, but the small fry doing it is good too, right? I mean, let's help people. Say American goes to Europe and wants to post on Facebook and then use Visa card to buy stuff. They can't see you. They can't see you because of the product that these guys have. So, okay, I'm in. I own it. I have it. I own it. This is my thing. It doesn't have to be your thing, but, I rarely talk about what's my thing, and this is it. Okay, DC area search spikes, criminal defense lawyer, statute of limitations, and Swiss bank. We're going to need a bigger prison. Yeah, I mean, if you were a bad actor, you're going to get discovered. And it's time to get rid of the bad actors and get the good actors in. And this is a reminder that, the SEC, the CFTC, all these organizations were persecuting the McAfees, the Brian Armstrongs, the Charlie Schrems, all these people like the Winklevoss twins over at Gemini. I mean, they had a fight. They had to fight all these guys, right? They lived in fear. Even Garlinghouse from XRP did. So, okay. The guys who did all that, Gensler and all these characters, they're going to find out. I don't know if they're going to find out and need a Swiss bank account and a defense lawyer, but they're going to find out what was really going on. And I think it's underestimated that those people are gone and never coming back ever. Ever. I mean, you'd have to have a totalitarian government in the United States to bring all that back based on what's happening now, how they're just like totally dismantling it. Bitcoin reserve bill expected to pass committee after first hearing in the great state of Texas. Okay. These Bitcoin reserves are going to get done at the state level, and I would not be shocked if like Oklahoma and Texas and various red or right-leaning states are the first ones to do it because, the dollar and the grocery store is just ridiculous. I mean, it's just the fact that it's so absurd means people and states and eventually sovereigns are going to have to turn to a different form of money, because I don't know how anybody ever rescues fiat. I just don't. So, as if you're not miserable enough in crypto, you have to sit here and watch S&P stocks be up only. Just up only, right? Now, I don't know if this is the plunge protection team at the Fed. It probably is. Making sure that whatever Trump does on tariffs doesn't wind up wrecking the stock market, because after all, that is, part of the Fed's job. The Fed props up the stock market and the Treasury props up the bond market. Like, they have a payment at the Treasury for $4.7 trillion that they can't figure out where it went. Okay, well, I know where it went. It went to support the bond market, to make sure that the bond market can still function, because there's no bid for our debt. That's just a theory. But meanwhile, stocks are up only, crypto's down only. These are the things that we just have to live with, because again, the plunge protection team is in, the Fed is putting money in through M2, and eventually that has to return to crypto once we're done with our juice cleanse over our self-destructive tendencies to blow ourselves up with stupid stuff. Not you, not me, but the ecosystem just got idiotic. They got long for the wrong reasons, right? And then everyone just started to behave badly. It's like the regulators walked out the door and we acted like imbeciles as an ecosystem, right? And then the market had to come in and purge it all. Gensler wasn't there to purge it, so the market did. That's all. Market just came in and goes, you know what? We're done with this. We're just going to sell everything. This market is, stupid. And that's why Solana crashed. Okay, so President Trump wants to get a Doge dividend taxpayer refund, right? I mean, people need this. People need this, right? So they're going to get rescue money to people. Let's get rescue money to people. I'm sure people won't always use it wisely, but I'm sure some people will, because of what's going on with credit, what's going on with credit cards, and what's going on with auto payments is, card defaults is not funny. Right. We don't talk about it anymore because I don't want to be negative. I don't want to start off with, oh my God, because I don't think that matters. I don't think that's going to crash equities or banks or anything like that. But, people are miserable. Okay. So FTX users are getting their money back. I don't know what this means, but, they're getting paid. So either that goes right back into the crypto market because that's why they were here to begin with, or they just all leave. Either way, a bunch of people who are into crypto are getting money back. They're getting paid through Kraken. That was the first round. So that's interesting, right? They're getting paid, into Kraken, which allows them to, theoretically turn around and buy crypto. I mean, Bitcoin at 93. And ironically, ETH is exactly where it was back in the FTX days. Right before FTX happens, ETH is at the same price. So if you liked ETH, you can just buy right back into ETH at the exact same price. Okay, Binance is back. Binance US. Good. Seriously, good. If you have a Binance account, if you have Binance and Coinbase and Gemini, let them start competing. I mean, Gemini is kind of a small player, but, Binance can compete with Coinbase, and we need to list something other than big cap meme coins, because that stuff just got mercilessly dumped on retails. Hadn't I talked about that? I'm like, this is not the stuff to list right after Gensler walks out the door. It's not. It's not. I mean, if you want to list a Trump coin, okay, that's one thing, I think. Or if you want to list these like up and coming meme coins, okay. But, don't list something that trades at $1 billion only to have, whales dumping on people's heads. It's just, it's not a good look. Okay. So let me skip this. Okay. Michael Saylor's interested in learning more about, he's like saying, qualified buyers interested in learning more about the proposed private offering of convertible notes can register for the live webinar on February 19th at 10 a.m. by completing this survey. So Mike is going right back at it, issuing. He will hit the legacy market with all of the paper they can take. Because again, there's a lot of insurance companies, a lot of pension funds They can't buy Bitcoin and they can't buy the Bitcoin ETF. So the only way to get exposure to crypto is buy any security like a stock or a bond that Michael Saylor and Strategy issue. He's just going to go right on doing it. It's like, oh, look, I paid 108 and they marked it down to 94. How nice. Right? It's like, like this price action should change anybody's mind about Bitcoin. Absolutely not. Okay. A word on Janice McAfee. She said in this thing that the antivirus project and the privacy functions that it already has, it's got 2 more it's adding, is what McAfee wanted. He wanted for all of us 5 years ago, right? And instead we did meme coins. Okay. So how about we meet in the middle? We'll do a meme coin with an AI agent that gives you what McAfee wanted for all of us. Again, who are the crypto influencers these days? Who are they? Right? Who are they? Like what's going on with Ben right now? This could be a soap opera. This could be a publicity stunt. I don't know about that. I fed some of this into Perplexity, and Perplexity was like, yeah, there's a 70% chance that what's going on here is kind of a serious situation. What's really happened for the market, honestly, is that, the tragic fall of this guy hurt the crypto space because he had 1 million people that were listening to him. Right. I mean, I don't know. He would have something like, I remember back in the heyday, he'd have like 25,000 people watching the live show. I mean, that is like, psh. But this guy's gone and no one replaced him. No one replaced him. Okay. Now I say, if you're not replacing him with me, replace him with the John McAfee AI agent, which will be doing podcasts or will be able to do kind of a one-way monologue podcast like My Market Update soon. That is the goal. So you better watch out for talking John McAfee, because McAfee had a lot of things to say about sovereigns, about taxation, about what's really important in crypto. I'm sure he would have loved meme coins, to a certain degree, particularly like the AI sector. I'm like, wow, guys, AI and crypto, you marked it down to zero. Like first it was worth trillions and now it's worth nothing. 2 days ago, it was all worth nothing. I'm like, okay, really? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, again, Strategy announces convertible notes, MicroStrategy. It's like they just won't stop. They're not going to stop. Bitcoin legend Adam Back says we're in the early stages of the bull market in Bitcoin. You got to ask yourself a very important question about Bitcoin. Is later in the year, after we get done with whatever it is we're doing, washing out altcoins, can this thing eventually go straight up? Right? Can you just wake up one day like the gold shock and have this thing go up only? That's really what he's saying. Like if we're in the middle stage of a bull market, can there be, I mean, it's not going to be today. Maybe we can get it going between now and Easter. Now, that's 2 months, right? Maybe we can get it going. Bitcoin, right? Or maybe it's altcoins recover. You have to ask yourself, like towards the end of this year, can this turn into like a banana singularity because of a supply shock? Okay. Ondo is leading the RWA space. Ohm, the layer one in real world assets, was up to $8. So we're waiting for a BlackRock announcement, right? I think that's what's next, right? It's got to be Uncle Sam, the States, and BlackRock. BlackRock and Goldman and all these characters have been quiet. They haven't said anything. They haven't done anything. So if they want to get it going, they need to get it going. And if they've got announcements to make, now would be a good time. It really would be, because everyone's bearish, out, short. No one likes it. Everyone's upset. I don't blame you, man. I mean, antivirus at 5 million. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was crazy, right? So it happened to your bag, it happened to my bag, and I'm like, you know, what the hell with this? I'm going to go do something about it, right? See, and this is the signal, right? So Trump-backed World Liberty Financial buys a bunch of SEI. Now, you have to ask yourself, really, you know, is that a paid placement by that layer one? Did the layer one pay the Trump group to say, hey, you know, we want you to buy our coin to, you know, as a way of promoting it? Now, I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't know. But the Trump organization or whoever's running this hedge fund is basically saying, yeah, you know what? They wiped out the market. Let's buy a layer one. Because this layer one led on the way up in 2024. Sui led the second round, but this was the first round. So again, this fits the whole administration playbook. Like first Trump comes out and says something, then World Liberty makes a move, and then they got to follow it with something big. And if they do that with everybody leaning bearish and liquidated, because again, they liquidated all the leverage longs 3 weeks ago, and then they liquidated all the spot holders by having stuff go straight down. Just went straight down. Everyone was like, oh, I got to puke this out. I got to puke it out. All right. All right. Let's go to the chart. So I know we had virtual. So here's what we know about this. What I think I know about this is that, you know, Coinbase Ventures was involved. They cashed out at the highs, and then there was no reason for Coinbase to list it because Coinbase Ventures was out and already got their money. So what was the point in Coinbase listing it? And that's horrible. That's horrible, right? And this thing crashed from 5 billion to 1 billion. You know, it blew through some fib support levels, but you know, if you zoom in, right, this is a time to zoom in, not zoom out. I mean, yeah, you got to zoom out, but like, look at this. Like, is that not a give up trade for anybody who's ever watched the show? Is that not just straight down, flat out capitulation? I mean, it happened. You know, it happened in antivirus. It happened everywhere, right? I mean, there was a whale in antivirus who sold a huge amount of tokens for that project. You know, sold a huge amount of tokens at 6 million market cap. It's just like, okay, I don't want it anymore. You know, meanwhile, I'm sitting in my hotel room in San Francisco, getting ready. Okay, I can't get this working right, but there was a lot of downside volume here that you may not be able to see, right? All this red down here was some guy puking his whole bag at 6 cents. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, have fun with that. That's crazy. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in my hotel room getting ready to interview Janice. Okay, bro. Hope that works out good for you. Okay, let's talk about Solana. This is a 4-hour chart. So Solana got down to its discount zone in Los Algo. That's how wrecked Solana was. And I noticed this was a big Gann point, right? I'll have to go back and investigate this. It was probably from a long-term price prediction on Solana. This Gann point held several times, and it's interesting that it's got a downward slope to it. Now, there's resistance up top in Solana at 192, but you know, you had bottoming signals in like on the 17th. And then they further puked it out, I guess, just to make sure that you understood, right? They just heaved it. So I'm asking myself, particularly when you look at the DeMark work, you know, why everybody got so excited on the downside, right? You got a 9 bottom here. No one respected that. You got another 9 bottom. That's interesting. And then on Solana, on like a 4-hour chart, you got these signals, right? You got a 13 bottom. That's from the DeMark sequential indicator. And this 5 means a 5 wave, meaning down move is over. And you've got a 0 that goes with that, which is the DeMark's way, the system's way of saying that the Elliott wave system has high conviction that that was it. on the downside. So you have high conviction, DeMarc bottom, Lux Algo discount zone, and Lux Algo coming in and buying, and getting bullish right here. And everyone hates the market. Why? This is wiping out the excess of meme coins, right? Everyone out of meme coins, everyone out of Solana. And, I just noticed, you've got this like bullish downward sloping wedge from Lux Algo that it's breaking out of. Why did everyone get negative on Solana? Everyone's negative on Solana. I have to get the date for the phone, but everybody's negative a month before the phone comes out. You got to be kidding me. It's like crypto has like its inbred, it's got its inbred kill switch. It's like, okay, the market goes up and then everyone acts like an idiot, right? Then the market goes down because everyone acts like an idiot. And then everybody wraps a narrative around that and goes, yeah, there must be something wrong with the market. No, there's nothing wrong with the market. People act like idiots and the market purged them. They purged them. Now, they hurt all of us in the process. I mean, what's the bearish narrative again? I'm not sure I understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, they marked everything down. The bearish narrative is that everyone just gave up. So first they liquidate, like I said, they liquidate the leverage people, like $900 million or whatever that was. And then they liquidate the spot holders. Everyone packs it in. Crazy. Crazy. Right? Now, if you look at the daily charts, right? This is gold. So here's the thing about gold. It's probably a big battle at 3,000. So gold at 3,000 is probably the, 100K of the, of that market. Bitcoin has 100, gold has 3,000. Gold should have gone down off these DeMarc signals and it didn't. It didn't. I mean, it stopped for 4 days and the battle may continue near 3,000. But, if you have a bullish gold catalyst, if the gold in Fort Knox is not there, then it's going to explode through. Now, in the past, what's happened is, Bitcoin would slump and gold would rally like last year. Like Bitcoin did nothing and the whole market was obnoxiously boring while gold was going up. And then as soon as gold stopped, right, that was the election and Bitcoin and crypto followed. Now, this could be the case, right? You go up only in gold and then you consolidate and crypto follows. Like that's my takeaway from gold. Okay. Bitcoin, you have a 9 bottom and there's no real follow through on the downside. And then, you could be back at 102 easily. And this DeMarc picture here is kind of neutral, I think. I didn't look at like the tactical chart of Bitcoin, right? But, if you look at the 90-minute chart, on February 17th was the 13 bottom, right? And then, as is the case, the blow off bottom level was 94. And naturally, they had to take it down through that. They blew out your stops. They blew out everybody. And even did it in Bitcoin. There's a bunch of guys looking for 86. I guess that could have happened, but it didn't. It didn't happen. So they ran all the stops. You get the 9 top, and you get a pause that refreshes, and now it feels like it's just resuming quietly. I don't think anyone's too excited, but I'm okay with gradually and then suddenly. I'm okay with that. I am. Right? Because, they hammered this thing, and, ETH never went down. ETH's got the 9 bottom on a daily chart, and they're doing like a base. So this could turn around. And don't forget, you have a 9 bottom on ETH weekly. Right? Can you even tell looking at ETH that there was this like calamitous week? No, not really. And if you go to Solana weekly, I know Solana kind of like hammered through a trend line and made everyone real upset. Right? You just look at this. People are bearish Solana here because, it's like they just visited the trend line, ran the stops and came back. What's everyone upset about? Everyone's upset because, meme coins and AI agent winter smoked everybody. Okay, I understand that. But you think I'm going to turn around and get all negative. The most loathsome creature in the world is the late stage bear. Like the late stage bear is the worst creature on earth. In other words, people who come in and FUD the market when it's already down, right? I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Okay, so Barachain, they bottomed it on the 17th. They took it to the discount zone. Lux Algo came in. Equilibrium is up at 10. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be after any of this new stuff, right? It's tough to define new stuff, but Barra clearly qualifies as new stuff. New stuff, right? Get after it. Clanker, as I understand it, is I don't know. Wow. This is moving today. As I understand it, this is some kind of launch pad. Possibly the pump.fund of ETH. I don't know. I don't know how real this is, but if that's some kind of bad print. But if you look at the daily chart, there's an important lesson here about this, right? So first of all, if you can launch new coins on this, that's interesting. If that's what it is, and if that's not what it is, look what they did to it, right? They just took it straight down, right? Took it straight down. Everyone packed it in. And then ironically, it just had kind of like an upward sloping consolidation, right? It did like an accumulation cone. And then what happens when you have these Jesse Livermore accumulation cones? Boom. So, I'm not inclined. Hey, Hong, good morning from Korea. Good morning, sir. Yeah, this market was brutal. Okay. And Alexandra wants to talk the gold chart. So let's look at the gold chart. Let's do like a Lux Algo deep dive. We did the DeMark work. Okay. So I don't think it matters how you look at this. This is at its premium zone. And there hasn't been any point this year. Like I thought they were going to blow XRP through its premium zone. And that didn't work. It didn't work. Okay. It just didn't work. Every time you buy something up here, you get hosed. I swear to God. So, there's no 5-wave top. So I don't think you have to freak out and get excited. Right. But I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I would rather go to Bitcoin. I mean, there is a 5-wave top in gold with intense FOMO if you look at it on the 4-hour chart. So, when the Trump meme coin was the headline, you were supposed to sell crypto. You're supposed to sell because that's what's all over the media. Now what's all over the media is there's no gold in Fort Knox. Well, you can make an argument that that's the top of gold and the bottom of Bitcoin. Now, if gold smokes through the premium zone and you got some kind of crisis, okay. But we were saying the same thing at the top, that Trump was going to come in and he was going to do the strategic Bitcoin reserve on day one, and that's not what happened. So, if the gold is actually in Fort Knox, you're probably going to have a correction in gold, but that doesn't mean gold's not going to turn around and take out 3,000 because this is the mechanism for devaluing the dollar, right? Speaking of that, no one is yet talking about what this means for the dollar, right? You have a head and shoulders top, okay? And, the dollar index has got 2 or 3 points that it needs to fall. So the dollar index needs to go below its 200-day moving average just to its equilibrium zone. If this formation is true, and this is the lesson from gold. That's the real lesson. Okay. That's it for today. Don't want to make major pronouncements the first day back. Want to like look in, settle the charts. The most loathsome creature in crypto is the late stage bear. You want to manage risk, but I'm not seeing the big negative case here. We'll see you tomorrow.